Hello, I'm Craig Phillips, and this is Good News Central. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm talking about people, animals, and health. Let's get right to the top stories. People. William Rodriquez, MD, trained in medicine and infectious diseases at the Brigham and Women's Hospital, and served as chief medical resident. From 2003 to 2007, he was the chief medical officer for the William J. Clinton Foundation, where he assisted the South African government with its HIV program. Now, Dr. Rodriquez is part of a new generation of entrepreneurs and small businesses who all see a market in some of the world's poorest communities. Despite the challenges, such as lack of infrastructure, the absence of role models, chaotic government regulations, and investor reluctance. Dr. Rodriquez, for example, was an infectious disease doctor at Harvard. When on frequent trips to Africa and Southeast Asia, he noticed a dangerous gap in medical diagnostics. When diagnosing HIV, in most cases, a trained technician must draw blood from the patient and then send the sample hundreds of miles away. That means it can take weeks to get the results, by which point it's very difficult to find the patient. It's not like you can just call them up or drop them an email. Hey, we've got your test results. And when you do finally find them, odds are their disease status might already have changed. Dr. Rodriquez, with the help of other smart folks, developed a device that can count the number of certain immune cells in a patient's blood, and that's a great indication of their present HIV state. Now, why is this discovery so important? Well, here are the startling truths about HIV there. In Southern Africa, up to 20% of the workforce is infected with HIV, 30% of the teachers and nurses in Botswana, 15 to 20% of farmers across Southern Africa, and the highest prevalence groups include soldiers, miners, truck drivers, and factory workers, normal everyday people. Now this device, which can be used with very little training, provides results in about 10 minutes, and each test costs about $5 to $10. Now that means people can literally begin getting treated for HIV in no time at all. That's really good news. And that's why we want to thank Dr. Rodriquez and his company, Daktari, which by the way means doctor in Swahili.
This episode of Good News Central is brought to you in part by US Dream Nails, located in beautiful Hamburg, Germany. Get your next manicure or pedicure at US Dream Nails. Visit them online at usdreamnails.de.
In animal news, for many of us, the word Zeus conjures up images of the most famous and feared god of sky and thunder, the father of gods and men, as he was known in Greek mythology. But for one man, Joseph Sebastian, the name Zeus has a far greater meaning, one rooted in the now. Zeus is his best friend of the last 15 years, his dog. Zeus is more than 15 years old, and as you might know, that's over 80 for us humans. And since Zeus is now deaf and becoming blind, his best friend Joseph decided to take him on a final cycling trip around Australia. Joseph said, "I don't want Zeus to die. He's cared for me much more than I have cared for him." Be that as it may, it's really good news to hear about Zeus and his final romp around Down Under.
Good News Central is sponsored in part by modernmediamaniacs.com, the pioneers of the Name Your Price option for internet services. Get your social media and viral marketing tools at modernmediamaniacs.com.
Now in health news, people with asthma, pick me. Now they can find it hard to breathe when their airways become inflamed, swollen, and narrow. I had pretty bad asthma as a kid growing up in Vermont, and I can tell you, it definitely sucked. These days, most people are treated with steroids, but the drugs don't work for everyone. They didn't work for me. So introducing the Sunshine Vitamin. Yeah, that's right. Recent research suggests the amount of time asthma patients spend soaking up the sun may have a positive impact on the illness itself. Here's why. Low levels of vitamin D, which your body makes in sunlight, is linked to worsening symptoms of asthma. And it is known that people with high levels of vitamin D are better able to control their asthma. Researchers are now testing the impact of the vitamin on the chemical in the body called interleukin-17, which is a vital part of the immune system and helps to fight off infections. The Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology has published that vitamin D was able to lower levels of interleukin-17 when it was added to blood samples taken from 28 patients. That's really good news, folks. Now, for the majority of people with asthma, the current medicines available are a great way to deal with it. But continued research is necessary for everyone else out there, like myself. Now, many people with asthma have real concerns about the side effects of their medications. So if vitamin D can reduce the amount of medicines required, that alone would have an amazing impact on folks' quality of life. Something to think about. And something else to think about. Stop by goodnewscentral.us sometime and make a donation. I really could use your help. And I really appreciate you tuning in and watching the show. I'm Craig Phillips. This is Good News Central. Bye-bye.